I was not supposed to be home at noon. The house was too quiet. No music from the kitchen. No TV. No hum of the washing machine. Only my keys shaking in my hand and the soft click of the door. I called out. No answer. Then I heard a small sound. A faint whine. It came from the spare room. My dog, Clover, never whined unless she was scared. I pushed the door open and froze. My husband, Daniel, sat on the floor beside Clover. A tray lay between them. On the tray was a small brown bottle with a white label and a syringe. His hand trembled over Clover's front leg. Clover's eyes were glassy and slow. She tried to lift her head when she saw me, but it wobbled and fell back down. What are you doing? My voice cracked. It did not sound like me. Daniel jerked and covered the bottle with his palm, like a child hiding candy. Maya, you scared me, he said. It is not what you think. I stepped closer. The smell hit me. It was bitter and sharp, like a clinic. The label on the bottle had tiny letters. My eyes moved fast. Ketamine. For veterinary use only. Dose instructions. Warnings. I felt sick. Where did you get that? I asked. He forced a smile. From a friend. He is a vet. Clover has been anxious. I wanted to calm her down. You know she hates thunder and there is a storm coming. Outside, the sky was clear. I looked at the window and back at him. My hands shook so badly my keys fell and hit the tile. Clover tried to wag her tail but it was slow. Her breath sounded shallow. I knelt and touched her fur. It was damp near her shoulder. A small spot of blood showed where the fur thinned. My heart punched my ribs. You injected her, I whispered. You gave my dog a drug. Our dog, he said, but his eyes did not meet mine. I reached for the bottle, but he slid it away with his foot. The syringe lay beside his knee. There was a drop shining at the tip. Why, Daniel? My throat burned. Why would you do this to Clover? He swallowed. You have been stressed. I wanted to help. This will make her rest. That is all. Then why are your hands shaking? I asked. His silence filled the room like smoke. Clover let out a soft cry. Her paws twitched. I pressed my ear to her chest. Her heartbeat was too fast. Panic rose in me like floodwater. I grabbed the syringe and the bottle. My fingers moved without asking him. I snapped a photo of the label with my phone. Then I tucked Clover's body into my arms and stood, even though my knees were weak. We are going to the vet, I said. Now. Maya, wait, he said, standing. You are overreacting. She will be fine. We do not need to spend money. Money. The word clanged in my head. It was not new. Late bills. Hidden fees. Strange withdrawals. He always said he would fix it. He always said it was small. He always said not to worry. I carried Clover to the car. Daniel followed with the tray, then left it on the hall table. He kept talking. Telling me I was being dramatic. Telling me Clover just needed sleep. I could not hear him anymore. The world was the length of my arms and the weight of my dog. I drove fast. My eyes filled with tears. I kept wiping them so I could see the road. Clover's breath rattled in the back seat. I spoke to her like a child. Stay with me, baby. Please stay. I am here. The vet clinic door chimed when I pushed it open with my shoulder. The receptionist stood up when she saw my face and the way I held Clover. Emergency, I said. Drug injection. Please. They took Clover from me and ran. I stood like a statue in the bright light. I could feel my heartbeat in my mouth. Daniel walked in behind me and put his hand on my shoulder. I stepped away. A nurse came back with a clipboard. What did she get and how much? She asked. I gave her my phone with the photo. Ketamine. I do not know the dose. He gave it to her. I pointed at Daniel. I did not care that people looked. I did not care about shame. Only Clover. The nurse's eyes flicked to him and then to me. She nodded and hurried away. We waited. The clock was loud. Daniel sat. I stood. He rubbed his face and whispered. I was trying to help. I stared at the wall. A poster showed a smiling golden retriever and the words "You are their whole world." My chest hurt so much I had to sit down. At last the vet came out. A woman with kind eyes. She spoke gently. Your dog is stable for now. Her heart rate was high. We gave her fluids and support. We will keep her for monitoring. She may be okay if there are no other drugs in her system. Did she have anything else? My eyes went to Daniel. He looked at the floor. The vet followed my gaze. Her mouth set in a line. We need to know the truth, she said. It can save her life. He swallowed and shook his head. No. Just that. The vet nodded, though I saw doubt in her eyes. We will do our best. You can see her for a moment. Then we need to keep working. I went in. Clover lay on a warm pad, covered with a blanket. A small tube ran into her leg. Her eyes were half open. I touched her face. I am here, girl, I whispered. I will not let anyone hurt you again. A tear fell on her nose. She blinked. When I came back to the waiting room, Daniel stood up. See, he said too fast. She is fine. This is blown out of shape. We can go home. I stared at him. No. I am not going anywhere with you. Why did you have that drug at home, Daniel? Who is this vet friend? Why did you do it when you thought I would not be home? He opened his mouth and closed it. His jaw worked. He pulled at his sleeve until the thread came loose. I pulled out my phone and opened our bank app. My hands felt cold. I scrolled through the last months. There were new charges I did not know. Payments to a name I did not recognize. The same name again and again. I clicked one. The note line said rescue transport. Another said training intake. My head spun. What is rescue transport? I asked. What is training intake? What is this place? It is nothing, he said. Just a shelter. I donated. You donated with our rent money? My voice rose. People turned to look. I lowered it. Tell me the truth. He rubbed his temple. I did a small job. Helping move dogs. They said some were sick and old. They said it was kinder to put them down at home. It paid well, Maya. We needed it. My stomach twisted. You mean people pay you to take their pets and you drug them in living rooms like mine? His face drained of color. It is not like that. I only did it twice. I swear. It is legal. It is called home euthanasia. You are not a vet. He looked away. They gave me instructions. A cold wave rolled through me. I saw the tray on our hall table. I saw Clover's trusting eyes. I saw the way his hand shook. I felt something inside me crack. You were going to do it to Clover, I said. My voice was almost a whisper. You were going to put my dog down. For money. He took a step back. No. No. I only wanted her calm. I was going to film it to show the group I could follow directions. So they would hire me again. I swear I would never hurt Clover. My knees gave a warning. I sat before I fell. The room tilted. I held the edges of the chair and breathed in and out like a child learning not to cry. The vet nurse came out with a paper. We need a signature to continue, she said. Her eyes went to Daniel and then to me. From the owner. I reached for the pen. My hand steadied on the line. My name looked strange on the white page, as if it belonged to someone else. When I passed the paper back, I met the nurse's eyes. If anyone asks, I said quietly, Clover belongs only to me. She nodded once, like she understood more than I said. When she left, my phone buzzed. A message from Mom. Are you coming by tonight? I stared at the screen blankly. Then the light shifted. Daniel had moved closer again. I smelled the sharp scent from his hands. He had not washed them. Let us go home and talk, he said, soft now. We can fix this. Please. I stood and looked at him for a long time. His mouth was saying the words I knew so well. We can fix this. It is small. Do not worry. But his eyes were empty. There was no light in them that looked like love. I stepped back. No, I said. You can go home. I will stay with Clover. He flinched. He nodded too quickly. Fine. I will get dinner. I will be back. He left. I sat alone, hands clasped, breathing with the clock. After a while, I remembered the tray on the hall table. I texted my neighbor to grab it and keep it safe. She sent a photo. The tray. The syringe. The bottle. And something else I had not seen under the edge. A folded sheet with a list. Dogs. Dates. Fees. My phone buzzed again. A new message from a number I did not know. It was short. You still doing the job tonight? Same address. Bring the brown bottle. Pay is doubled if you keep your mouth shut. I stared at the screen as the room seemed to tilt once more. My heart hammered. My mouth went dry. I typed back 3 words with fingers that no longer felt like mine. Who hired you? The dots began to dance. And then the screen went black. My battery died. I looked up at the clinic door where Clover lay fighting to breathe. I looked at the empty seat where my husband had been. And I knew, with a cold, heavy knowing, that this was only the beginning. The phone in the clinic rang like thunder. Everyone in the waiting room turned their heads. The receptionist frowned, covering the mouthpiece, and called out, Maya, the call is for you. I froze. How could anyone know I was here? My heart banged against my ribs as I walked slowly toward the desk. The woman handed me the phone. Her eyes searched mine as if to say, be careful. I lifted it to my ear. Hello. My voice trembled. A voice I did not recognize whispered, sharp and cold, if you step outside tonight, your dog will not live to see the morning. The line went dead. I stood there, frozen. My breath caught in my chest. For a moment, the entire world went silent except for the steady ticking of the clinic clock. I handed the phone back to the receptionist, my hand shaking so hard she had to grab it before it slipped. Who was it? She asked softly. I couldn't speak. My throat locked. I turned and looked at the empty chair where Daniel had been. He was gone. 1,000 thoughts rushed through my mind. He had walked out too easily. He had said he'd get dinner. He had left right after the message about Clover. My stomach twisted. Was he part of this? Was he watching me from somewhere nearby? I stumbled back to my chair. My hands covered my face. The tears came hot and fast. Clover was fighting for her life inside that room, and now some faceless voice had tied her life to a warning I didn't understand. The vet returned, her gloves still on. She's resting, she said gently. But I need to ask again. Was there any chance more substances were used on her? It's critical. I shook my head. I don't know. My words caught. My husband had the bottle, the syringe, and a list. Her eyes sharpened. A list. Yes. Dogs. dates, payments. The vet exchanged a glance with the nurse. Something unspoken passed between them. Maya, she said, lowering her voice. That sounds like black market euthanasia. It's illegal. And dangerous. People pay men like him to take their pets and get rid of them without questions asked. Most times, the animals suffer. I thought I would vomit. The walls closed in. My knees shook. I gripped the chair arm until my knuckles went white. Please, I begged. Just save Clover. She nodded firmly. We will. But Maya, if what you're telling me is true, you may be in danger too. The words sliced through me. Danger. The stranger's voice replayed in my head. If you step outside tonight, your dog will not live to see the morning. I wanted to run. I wanted to scream. Instead, I sat there, silent, tears dripping on my clothes. That was when my phone buzzed again. I had plugged it into the wall charger at the clinic. The screen lit up. An unknown number. My chest tightened. I answered with a shaking hand. Maya, the same voice hissed. You don't understand. Daniel isn't who you think he is. He works for us. He failed his job tonight because of you. If you go to the police, you'll never see Clover alive again. The line cut. My blood turned to ice. I ran to the vet's office. You need to lock the doors. Don't let anyone in. Please. She looked alarmed but nodded. The nurse locked the front doors while I paced in circles. My mind spun with questions. Who were they? Why threaten me through Clover? And why did Daniel's lies suddenly connect to everything I'd missed? The strange bank charges, his secret late-night jobs, the trembling hands. Hours crawled by. The clinic lights dimmed. Other patients left. Only I remained, sitting in the waiting area, my thoughts heavy and wild. Finally, near midnight, the vet returned. She gave me a tired smile. Clover is stable. She's sleeping now. You can see her, but she must stay overnight. Relief crashed over me. I followed her into the room. Clover lay curled, breathing evenly, her fur brushed neatly. I stroked her head and whispered, I will never let him touch you again. Tears spilled down my face. When I stepped out, my phone buzzed once more. A text this time. Unknown number. Meet us at the old railway station. Midnight. Bring the bottle Daniel had. Come alone. If you don't, Clover's treatment will fail by morning. My hand shook so hard I almost dropped the phone. My neighbor still had the tray. The bottle was safe with her. But what did they mean Clover's treatment would fail? Did they somehow have a way to interfere? I showed the message to the vet. She frowned deeply. This is no longer just about the dog, Maya. These people want something from you. You can't go alone. But if I don't go, they'll kill Clover. My voice cracked. You don't know that, she said firmly. But I know this. If you go to that place at midnight alone, you may not come back. The clock ticked toward 12. My chest pounded. For the first time in my life, I didn't know if the man I had married was my husband, or a stranger wearing his face. The phone in my hand felt like fire. Daniel's call had ended with Clover's weak whimper echoing in my ear. My blood turned cold. I had just seen Clover in the clinic, safe under the vet's watch. So how could I be hearing her now? I staggered backward until my shoulder hit the wall. My breathing grew shallow. The vet caught my arm. Maya, what happened? My voice cracked. Daniel just called. I heard Clover. He has her. The vet frowned. That's impossible. Clover is sedated in the recovery room. No, I whispered. Then who was I listening to? The nurse rushed into the recovery room. A few seconds later, she came out, her face pale. The dog is gone. The words hit like a knife. My legs gave way. I sank to the floor. No, no, no. They had taken her. Somehow, while I sat here drowning in fear, Clover had been stolen from under my nose. The vet crouched beside me, her voice trembling. Maya, listen to me. This isn't random. Someone close to you is working with them. They knew exactly where to strike. I stared at the locked doors, at the shadows outside. My mind screamed only one name, Daniel. But another thought crawled in, darker than the first. What if it wasn't only Daniel? What if I had been living in a web much bigger than him? My phone buzzed again. Another message. Unknown number. We warned you. Come to the old railway station now. Bring the bottle, or the dog dies slowly. I pressed the phone to my chest. Tears blurred the words, but I understood them too well. The vet grabbed my shoulders. Don't go. This is a trap. I don't care, I choked. They have Clover. She's all I have left. I'll go. She looked at me for a long moment, then sighed. At least don't go alone. Take the police. I almost laughed, but it came out as a broken sound. Police. The caller already warned me. If I involve them, Clover dies. Silence swallowed us both. At last, I stood. My body felt heavier than stone, but my heart pushed me forward. I called my neighbor, voice shaking, and told her to meet me near the clinic with the tray. She hesitated but agreed. Minutes later, I was standing at the edge of the parking lot, clutching the cold tray in my hands. The bottle glistened under the streetlight. I slid it into my bag. The night air was thick as I drove toward the old railway station. The roads grew darker. Street lamps ended. My headlights cut through emptiness. I gripped the wheel so hard my nails dug into my palms. At last, the station came into view. Abandoned. Rust-eaten. Windows shattered. Shadows stretched across the broken tracks. I parked, my heart hammering. My phone buzzed again. Unknown number. Leave the bag on the ground. Step back. Don't move until you are told. I did as instructed. My legs shook as I placed the bag down on the cracked cement. I stepped back slowly, my eyes darting around the dark corners. From the shadows, a figure emerged. Not Daniel. A man in a black hoodie, his face hidden. He walked with steady steps, bent, and picked up the bag. He unzipped it, pulled out the bottle, and held it up to the faint moonlight. He laughed softly. Good girl. I wanted to scream at him, demand my dog back, but fear strangled me. Then another shadow moved behind him. Taller. Slower. My heart froze. Daniel. He stepped forward, his eyes gleaming in the dark. Maya, he said, his voice smooth, almost mocking. You never were supposed to see this side of me. My breath caught. Where is Clover? He smirked. Safe. For now. But you made things difficult. You shouldn't have interfered. Tears spilled. Daniel, please. She's just a dog. She trusts you. Don't hurt her. He tilted his head, studying me. You don't get it, do you? This isn't about Clover. This is about you. They wanted leverage. And you gave it to them when you refused to stay blind. The man in the hoodie chuckled. She's braver than you said, Daniel. Daniel's jaw tightened. Bravery doesn't matter when you're powerless. I shook my head violently. No. I am not powerless. You think you broke me, but you're wrong. If Clover dies, I swear the world will know who you are. His smile faltered. For the first time, I saw a crack in his mask. The hooded man stepped closer, bottle in hand. Careful, Maya. Threats can be dangerous. Do you want to see your pet again or not? My whole body trembled. Yes. Then prove your loyalty, he said. He pulled something from his pocket and tossed it at my feet. It was a phone. The screen lit up with a single number already dialed. Call the vet. Tell her you made it all up. Tell her Daniel is innocent. Then maybe you'll see Clover again. My chest ached. My fingers hovered over the phone. My heart screamed no. My love for Clover screamed yes. Daniel leaned close, his whisper like a blade. Choose wisely, Maya. Your silence for her life. My tears fell like rain. My thumb shook over the screen. My whole world balanced on that one moment. Then, suddenly, from the darkness behind the station, headlights blazed. Engines roared. Police vehicles. The vet had called them anyway. The hooded man cursed. Daniel's face twisted in shock. No, he shouted. Everything exploded at once. Shouts, footsteps, flashing lights. The hooded man ran. Daniel grabbed my arm, dragging me toward the tracks. But in the chaos, a single sound cut through everything. Clover's bark. Weak, but alive. I turned and saw her in a cage near the wall. Her eyes met mine, pleading. My heart shattered and healed all at once. I tore from Daniel's grip, sprinting toward her. My fingers shook as I pulled at the cage door. Tears blurred my vision. Her warm body pressed against me, trembling. Behind me, Daniel's voice roared with fury. You'll regret this, Maya. Police closed in. The night burned with sirens. I clutched Clover to my chest and whispered, "We survived tonight. But this is only the beginning." The sirens screamed long into the night. Police swarmed the abandoned station, their flashlights slicing through shadows, their radios crackling. I clutched Clover against my chest, her heartbeat fast but steady. For the first time since that terrible day began, I felt a thin line of hope. Daniel was on the ground, his hands behind his back, cuffs clicking shut around his wrists. The hooded man had vanished into the night, swallowed by darkness, but at least Daniel was caught. My husband. My betrayer. One of the officers helped me to my feet. "Ma'am, you're safe now. We've got him." Safe. The word echoed in my mind like a cruel joke. How could I ever feel safe again, knowing the man I had loved had tried to poison my dog, sell her life for money, and drag me into a world I didn't understand? As they led him to the police car, Daniel's eyes locked on mine. Cold. Sharp. A smile twisted on his lips. "This isn't over, Maya. You'll see." His voice sent ice through my veins. I held Clover tighter. The vet arrived minutes later, breathless, her coat still on. She rushed to check Clover, touching her gently. "She's weak but alive," she said. "We need to run more tests, but thank God you got her back." I nodded, tears filling my eyes. But inside, dread still gnawed at me. At the station, the police took my statement. I told them everything, about the syringe, the bottle, the list, the threats, the calls. They wrote it all down, their pens scratching fast across paper. But when I finished, one officer leaned back and frowned. "There's a problem," he said. "The charges may not stick." "What?" My voice cracked. "He tried to kill my dog." "Yes," the officer said slowly. "But the drugs were veterinary. Hard to prove intent unless we catch him in the act. And as for the threats, we can't tie the unknown number directly to him." My knees buckled. The vet gripped my hand. "You can't release him," I begged. "He's dangerous." The officer sighed. "We'll hold him overnight. But without more evidence, the law may not keep him long." That night, I barely slept. Clover lay beside me on the bed, her breathing shallow but steady. I stroked her fur, whispering promises I wasn't sure I could keep. By morning, I thought maybe, just maybe, it was over. But when my phone buzzed at dawn, I knew I was wrong. A message. Unknown number. He's out. And he's coming for you. I dropped the phone. My chest seized. I scrambled to the window. And froze. Across the street, leaning against a lamppost, was Daniel. He wasn't in handcuffs. He wasn't in a police car. He was free. And he was smiling. I backed away from the window, my breath loud in my ears. My hands trembled as I dialed the police station. A tired voice answered. Yes, Mrs. Clark. We had to release him. Lack of evidence. But don't worry, we'll keep an eye out. Keep an eye out? That was all they could do. My body shook with rage and fear. Minutes later, a knock pounded at the door. I jumped. Clover whimpered. Slowly, I crept toward it. Maya, Daniel's voice called, calm, almost playful. Open up. We need to talk. I pressed my back against the door, my hands flat on the wood. Go away, Daniel. Silence. Then a low laugh. You think you can shut me out? You don't even know the half of it. You think I'm the monster. But, Maya, what about you? My heart slammed. What are you talking about? He chuckled again. Do you really not remember? Or have you been lying to yourself all these years? The words rattled through me. What did he mean? I stood frozen, my mind spinning. That was when another sound reached me. From the kitchen. A faint beep. I turned slowly. The microwave clock was blank. The fridge light was off. Then I saw it. Wires snaked across the floor, connected to a small blinking red light tucked behind the counter. A bomb. My throat closed. My vision blurred. I grabbed Clover and ran for the back door, kicking it open with all my strength. We stumbled into the yard, my lungs burning. My feet tore against the gravel as I sprinted toward the neighbor's fence. Behind me, Daniel's laughter echoed. Run, Maya, run. But you can't run from the truth. I vaulted over the fence just as the explosion tore through the house. The sound was deafening, a roar that shook the ground and lit the sky with fire. Heat slammed into my back, throwing me into the grass. I curled around Clover, shielding her with my body. When the smoke cleared, my home was gone. Ash, flames, shattered wood. My life in ruins. And Daniel, nowhere to be seen. Hours later, as firefighters poured water on the wreck, I sat in a blanket, Clover in my lap, tears streaking my face. The vet stood beside me, her voice low. This isn't just about the dog, Maya. He's after you. He knows something. Something you don't. I shook my head. No. I don't have secrets. I've never. But even as I said it, a memory flickered. A buried memory I had tried to forget. A night years ago. A different city. A choice I had made and never spoken of. My chest tightened. What if Daniel knew? What if everything, the threats, the dog, the bomb, wasn't just about him being cruel? What if it was about dragging my past back into the light? As that thought settled like poison in my stomach, my phone buzzed again. A new number. A new message. Unknown number. The fire was just the beginning. Meet us where it all started, Maya. Or you'll lose more than your dog. My hand shook as I read it. My vision blurred. Where it all started. I knew exactly what they meant. And it wasn't about Daniel. It was about me. I sat by the ruins of my house, wrapped in a blanket, holding Clover as if letting go would make her disappear. The smoke had settled, but inside me, the storm only grew stronger. My whole life felt like broken glass scattered at my feet, too sharp to pick up, too many pieces missing. Neighbors whispered. The vet stayed close, refusing to leave me alone. But all I could think about was Daniel. The man I loved, the man I trusted with my heart, had destroyed everything I built. And still I asked myself why. Why would the person who once wiped my tears, kissed my forehead, and promised forever turn into someone who wanted me in ashes? The police officer came over and crouched beside me. His voice was gentle. "Mrs. Clark, we'll increase patrols around you. But if there's something you're not telling us, now is the time. This feels personal." Personal. The word stabbed my heart. I shook my head. "I don't understand any of it. I just know I can't lose Clover too." He sighed, squeezed my shoulder, and walked away. Later that night, I sat alone with Clover sleeping beside me. I scrolled through old photos on my phone, pictures of me and Daniel smiling at the beach, laughing in the kitchen, celebrating our first anniversary. Tears rolled down my face. How could those moments be real, and this nightmare also be real? Which version of him had I truly married? As I stared at one photo, Daniel holding Clover as a puppy, kissing her head, I felt my chest break. He once loved her. Or maybe he only pretended, the way he pretended with me. That thought crushed me. I leaned down and whispered into Clover's ear, "We only have each other now." My phone buzzed. Not an unknown number this time. My mother. "Maya." Her tired voice came through. "I heard what happened. Come home, please. Don't face this alone." I wanted to. God, I wanted to. But the shame of it all weighed me down. "I can't, Mom," I whispered. "I don't want you to see me like this." She sighed. "Honey, strength is not pretending. Strength is allowing people to hold you when you can't stand." Her words cracked something inside me. For the first time, I realized I wasn't just mourning my house or my marriage. I was mourning the life I thought I had. The next morning, the police called. Daniel had slipped away during transfer. My stomach dropped. Fear clawed at me. But strangely, beneath the fear was another feeling. Sorrow. Because no matter what he had done, a part of me still remembered the man who once made me laugh until my stomach hurt. That was the cruelest twist, loving someone who had already turned into a stranger. By evening, I got another message. "Daniel, meet me where we first met. One last time. Come alone. If you truly ever loved me, don't bring anyone." My heart clenched. Where we first met. The old library downtown. The vet begged me not to go. The police wanted to trace him instead. But something in me needed answers. Not just for Clover. Not just for my home. But for my heart. When I walked into the library, the place smelled of dust and memories. Daniel stood by the window, his face thinner, eyes darker, but still him. For a moment, silence hung between us. The same silence we once shared when our eyes first met years ago, when everything felt new and safe. "Why, Daniel?" My voice broke. "Why did you do this to me? To us? To Clover?" He let out a long breath. "Because I was drowning, Maya. And you never saw it. The debts. The mistakes. The people I owed. I thought I could fix it. I thought if I just did one bad thing, we'd be okay. But one became two. Two became 10. And then, I couldn't stop." My tears blurred my vision. "So you sold out your own wife? You poisoned the dog you once called family?" His lips trembled. For the first time, I saw pain in his eyes. I hated myself every moment. But hate doesn't erase debt. It doesn't erase fear. And when they told me to choose between paying with money or paying with you, his voice cracked. I broke. Maya. I broke. I sobbed, my body shaking. "You could have told me. I would have stood by you. I would have fought with you. But instead, you destroyed me." He took a step closer, his eyes wet. Because I didn't want you to see me this way. I didn't want to be your shame. I staggered back, Clover whimpering in my arms. You already are. Daniel dropped to his knees, his voice breaking. I never stopped loving you. Not for a single day. But love doesn't erase the damage I've done. Tears poured down my face. I hated him. I loved him. I wanted to run. I wanted to hold him. Every piece of me was torn apart. Finally, he whispered, I'll leave. You'll never see me again. But promise me one thing. Don't let them win. Don't let them take you the way they took me. Before I could answer, he stood and walked toward the exit. I wanted to call after him. I wanted to ask who they were. But my voice refused to leave my throat. All I could do was clutch Clover and cry as the man I once called husband disappeared into the shadows. The letter shook in my hands. Daniel's handwriting stared back at me like a ghost. They are watching you too, Maya. Be ready. I sat at my mother's kitchen table, the walls around me smelling of comfort, warm soup simmering, laundry soap faint in the air. But inside me, nothing felt safe. The man I loved had vanished into the night, and even in his absence, he still had the power to pull me apart. My mother walked in and placed a cup of tea in front of me. Her eyes lingered on the letter. You don't have to be strong all the time, Maya. Let yourself break. That's how healing starts. I tried to smile, but tears spilled instead. Clover rested her head on my lap, her warm breath grounding me in the middle of my storm. I don't know who's watching me, I whispered. I don't know what Daniel has gotten me into. I feel like my whole life is a lie. Mom cupped my cheek. Your life isn't a lie, honey. His choices were. Don't let his sins bury your truth. Her words gave me air to breathe, but the ache in my chest stayed. The days that followed were quiet, but the silence was sharp. Every time I stepped outside, I felt eyes on me. At the store. At the bus stop. Even outside church on Sunday. Maybe it was my fear playing tricks on me, or maybe Daniel's warning was real. At night, I couldn't sleep. I replayed every moment of our marriage, every touch, every lie I hadn't seen. The way he would disappear for late-night jobs. The sudden cash that appeared, only to vanish again. His tired eyes that I mistook for stress, when maybe they were guilt. The betrayal was heavy, but what hurt most was realizing I never really knew the man I married. One evening, as I walked Clover in my mother's yard, she nudged my hand and looked at me with her soft brown eyes. In her, I saw loyalty, pure, simple, unwavering. The very thing I had begged for from a human, I already had in this dog. My chest tightened. I promise, I whispered to her, I'll never let anyone hurt you again. A week later, an envelope appeared in the mailbox. No name, no address. Inside was a photo, me walking Clover outside the clinic that night. Someone had been watching. Scrawled across the back were 5 words. He isn't your only enemy. My knees weakened. I sat on the porch, clutching the photo. My mind spun. Who else? Who was pulling the strings? Daniel was guilty, yes, but was he also trapped? That night, lying awake, I remembered something Daniel had said at the library. Don't let them take you the way they took me. Took him. The words echoed like thunder. I realized then, it was bigger than Daniel. Bigger than me. The next day, I visited the vet to check on Clover. She was stronger, her tail wagging again. Seeing her walk without wobbling brought tears to my eyes. The vet smiled gently. She's a fighter. Just like you. But then her face grew serious. Maya, can I ask you something? When Daniel was with you, did he ever mention an organization called The Haven? I froze. No. Why? She hesitated. Because I've seen cases like Clover's before. Dogs brought in half-sedated, Owners too scared to speak. And each time, I heard whispers about the Haven. A group that pretends to rescue animals but really trades them like property. Some people get involved out of desperation. Some never get out. My stomach knotted. The word felt heavy, dangerous. The Haven. If Daniel had been working with them, then maybe his crimes weren't just his own. Maybe that was why he warned me. I left the clinic with Clover by my side, my heart pounding. That night, I sat with my mother in the living room. "Mom," I whispered, "if Daniel was caught in something bigger, do you think he ever really loved me? Or was I just a cover for his secret life?" Her eyes softened. She reached for my hand. "Maya, love is complicated. People can love you and still betray you. That doesn't make the love fake. It makes them weak." Tears ran down my face. But why me? Why my dog? Why destroy the only good we had? She pulled me close. "Because broken people break the ones closest to them. But that's not the end of your story. You still have Clover. You still have me. You're not alone." For the first time, I let myself cry in her arms like a child. But even as I cried, my phone buzzed again. Another message. "Unknown number. Meet us tomorrow at the riverbank. Come alone. We'll give you the truth Daniel couldn't." My heart stopped. The truth. The very thing I had been desperate for, the very thing that kept me awake at night, was suddenly being offered. But at what cost? I looked at Clover, asleep on the rug, peaceful at last. Then at my mother, dozing in her chair. My life was fragile, but it wasn't gone. Did I dare risk it all again to chase the truth? The paper in my hand burned like fire. Fight or fall. The words rang in my head all night. I lay awake beside Clover, her steady breathing the only sound in the room. My mother slept in the next room, but I couldn't close my eyes. How could I? Tomorrow at the riverbank, strangers promised, the truth Daniel couldn't tell. By dawn, I had made up my mind. I was tired of fear. I was tired of running. More than anything, I was tired of not knowing. If I was being watched, then let them watch me walk straight into the storm. The riverbank was quiet when I arrived. The sun was just climbing, painting the water gold. I held Clover's leash tightly, my hand trembling. Every rustle in the trees made my stomach clench. Then, a figure stepped forward. A woman, not a man. She wore a long coat, her hair pulled back tight, her eyes sharp as glass. She looked at me for a long moment before speaking. "You're braver than I expected." My voice shook. "Who are you?" She tilted her head. "Call me Elise. I'm part of the Haven." The name dropped like a stone in my chest. The vet had warned me about them. "What do you want from me?" Her gaze flicked to Clover. "We don't want your dog. Not anymore. We want you." My heart jumped. "Me? Why?" She stepped closer, her voice calm, almost gentle. "Because you're stronger than Daniel. And because you already know too much." Tears burned my eyes. Stronger. I can barely sleep at night. I've lost everything. She studied me with something that almost looked like pity. "That's exactly why you're strong. Pain breaks most people. But pain also sharpens some. Daniel was sharp once. But he dulled himself with fear, with lies. You," she paused. "You could be useful." I shook my head violently. "No. I don't want anything to do with you. I just want my life back." Elisa's lips curved into a sad smile. "That life is gone, Maya. You can either learn to fight, or you'll keep falling. And if you keep falling, we won't always spare the dog next time." I pulled Clover close, my whole body trembling. "Don't touch her. Don't you dare touch her." Elise tilted her head. Then listen. Daniel wasn't your enemy. He was your shield. Everything he did, even the cruelest things, he did because if he didn't, they would have taken you instead. The words stabbed me. I staggered back, my breath catching. You're lying. Her voice lowered. Am I? Think about it. Who always stood between you and the world? Who kept the debts from reaching your door? Who burned his hands so you could live soft? He was a coward in many ways, yes. But he never stopped loving you, Maya. He just loved you the wrong way. My throat tightened. A sob escaped before I could stop it. Because part of me knew she wasn't lying. I wiped my tears with shaking hands. If he loved me, why destroy me? Why poison Clover? Elisa's eyes softened. Because love isn't always enough. Sometimes fear wins. And when it wins, it makes people do unthinkable things. He failed you, Maya. But not because he wanted to, because he didn't know how else to fight. I sank onto the cold ground, Clover pressing her head against my knee. My heart cracked wider with every word. So what do you want from me now? Elise crouched in front of me. We want you to finish what he started. Stand where he fell. Help us. Or walk away, and know you'll never truly be safe again. I looked at the water, glittering in the morning sun. My reflection stared back, broken but alive. For so long, I had only been reacting, running, crying, hiding. But now a choice lay before me. I took a shaky breath. If I say no, Elise stood. Then we disappear. But the next time someone comes, they won't give you the choice. She turned to leave, her coat flaring in the wind. But just before she stepped into the trees, she looked back. You should know, Maya. Daniel didn't run away from you. He ran to protect you. And when he disappeared, it wasn't by choice. It was because we took him. The ground seemed to fall away beneath me. You have him. She nodded once. Alive. But not for long if you don't decide. And then she was gone. I sat there on the riverbank long after, Clover's head on my lap, tears streaming silently down my face. Daniel was alive. The man who destroyed me, betrayed me, broke me, was alive. And now the same people who used him wanted me. I thought of the letter. They are watching you too. I thought of his last words at the library. Don't let them take you the way they took me. It was never just about him. It was about me. That night, I lay awake at my mother's house. Clover pressed against my side, my mother's breathing steady in the next room. But inside, my soul was a battlefield. Could I forgive Daniel? Could I fight for him after everything he had done to me? Or was this just another trap, another cruel twist of fate? I closed my eyes, but the words Elise left me with burned brighter than the dark. Help us, or never be safe again. The letter shook in my hands. Don't believe them. I'm not your enemy. But if you want to save me, you'll have to risk everything. Daniel's handwriting was uneven, as if written in haste, or under duress. I read the words again and again until they blurred with my tears. Risk everything. I whispered into the quiet kitchen. Haven't I already lost everything? Clover stirred at my feet, her soft whine reminding me that no, I hadn't lost it all. Not yet. My mother appeared in the doorway, her robe pulled tight around her. Another letter? She asked softly. I nodded, unable to speak. She came closer, set a hand on my shoulder, and read it silently. Her sigh was heavy. Maya, you can't keep chasing him. Love doesn't mean you have to walk into fire for someone who lit the match. Her words pierced me. But still, a small, stubborn part of me clung to Daniel's letter. He was my husband. He had broken me, yes, but he had also once been the only person who made me feel like home. And now he was begging me to save him. The next day, another message came. This time, it was from Elise. Elise, the Haven doesn't beg, Maya. We offer. Meet us at the warehouse tomorrow. If you refuse, you'll never see him again. I felt the walls closing in. On one side, Daniel's desperate plea. On the other, Elisa's sharp ultimatum. Both paths dangerous. Both paths tied to the same man who had shattered me. That night, I couldn't sleep. I sat by the window, staring at the dark street outside. My mind replayed every moment with Daniel, the good and the cruel, the laughter and the lies. Tears filled my eyes. Why couldn't you just be the man I thought you were? I whispered into the night. By morning, I had made my choice. I needed answers. If I wanted to break free from this web, I had to walk straight into it. I went to the warehouse. The place smelled of rust and dust, its walls covered in shadows. Elise stood waiting, her arms crossed, her eyes cold. Beside her were two men, both silent, both watching me closely. You came, she said simply. I want proof, I said, my voice trembling but steady. Proof that Daniel is alive. She tilted her head. Then, with a snap of her fingers, one of the men dragged something forward, a chair. And in it, tied, bruised, and thinner than I'd ever seen him, was Daniel. My breath caught. My heart broke. Daniel, I whispered, tears spilling down my face. His head lifted slowly. His eyes, though tired, still carried the same storm I remembered. Maya. His voice cracked. I told you not to come. I staggered forward, but Elise blocked me with an arm. Careful. He's not your hero anymore. I glared at her through my tears. Then why keep him alive? Her lips curved. Because we don't waste useful things. But Daniel failed us. He grew weak. He lied. He tried to shield you instead of delivering you. And now, she leaned closer. Now you'll have to decide whether to take his place, or watch him disappear forever. My knees nearly gave way. Take his place. Yes, Elise said, her tone calm, almost gentle. Join us. Work for us. Become one of us. Or leave now, and you'll never see him again. I turned to Daniel. His eyes filled with pain. Don't do it, Maya. Don't let them chain you the way they chained me. Go. Take Clover. Live. Forget me. Tears ran hot down my cheeks. I can't just walk away. You're my husband. His voice broke. I don't deserve to be. I broke every vow I made to you. But please, don't let them break you too. I stood there, torn between two worlds. My heart pulled toward him, but my soul screamed in fear. Elisa's voice cut through the silence. Choose. Maya. Him, or yourself. My whole body shook. I looked at Daniel, weak, broken, yet still the man who once made me believe in forever. I looked at Elise, cold, unyielding, yet offering me power I never asked for. And then I looked down at Clover, her eyes full of trust, her warmth grounding me. I took a deep breath, tears streaming. I choose neither. I choose her. I choose myself. Elisa's eyes narrowed. That's not how this works. I straightened, my voice trembling but firm. Then make it work. You've taken my home, my peace, my husband. You won't take my soul. Not anymore. For a moment, silence filled the warehouse. Elise studied me, as if weighing my words. Then, unexpectedly, she smiled. You're braver than him after all. With a flick of her hand, the men dragged Daniel back into the shadows. His voice broke the silence, desperate. Maya! Don't leave me. Please, don't leave me again. My tears blurred everything. But I held Clover tight and whispered, "I'm sorry." Then I walked out. That night, back at my mother's house, I sat in the dark, Clover asleep beside me. My heart ached like it had been ripped open. I had chosen myself, but the guilt gnawed at me. Daniel was still alive. Still trapped. And his last cry haunted me like a ghost. As I stared into the night, my phone buzzed again. A message. Unknown number. You think you've chosen. But soon, you'll learn, this was only the first choice. The photo on my phone nearly made me drop it. My mother's face, captured through our own window, her figure outlined in the soft glow of the living room lamp. The caption below cut through my soul like a knife. This time, it's not the dog. It's her. My chest tightened until I could barely breathe. They weren't bluffing. They had moved closer, inside my home, inside my life. First Clover, now my mother. The two beings who had stood by me when Daniel tore me apart. I stumbled into the living room, where Mom hummed softly as she folded laundry. She looked up, saw my face, and frowned. "Maya, what's wrong?" I couldn't even form words. I just handed her the phone. Her hands trembled as she read the message. For a moment she froze, then drew in a shaky breath. "They're trying to control you," she whispered. "Don't let them." Tears welled in my eyes. "But what if they're serious? What if they hurt you because of me?" She came over and cupped my face in both hands. "Then listen to me carefully, Maya. You can't keep giving them pieces of yourself. Not for Daniel. Not for me. Not for anyone. If you do, you'll have nothing left to fight with." Her strength both broke and built me at the same time. I cried against her shoulder, torn between protecting her and losing myself. That night, I barely slept. Every shadow outside the window felt like a threat. Every creak in the house made me clutch Clover tighter. By morning, another letter slid under the door. No name. No return address. Just one line written in bold strokes. "You chose the dog. Now choose the mother. Come alone." Attached was an address. I sank to the floor, my whole body shaking. They were pulling me in deeper and deeper, each choice crueler than the last. Daniel had warned me, "They are watching you too." Now I finally understood. This wasn't just a fight for my marriage. It was a fight for my entire family. I made my way to the address. A deserted farmhouse on the outskirts of town. My heart pounded so loud I thought it would give me away. I stepped inside, the air thick with dust and silence. Then I heard it, my mother's voice. Muffled. Weak. "Mom!" I cried, running toward the sound. But as I rounded the corner, my steps halted. There she was, tied to a chair, her eyes wide with fear. And standing beside her, holding the rope with one hand, was Daniel. My whole world collapsed in that instant. "Daniel." My voice broke. "What have you done?" His eyes were bloodshot, his face pale. "I didn't have a choice, Maya." Tears blurred my vision. "You're working with them? You let them use her too?" He shook his head, voice cracking. "No. I'm not working with them. I'm trying to stop them. But they told me, the only way you'd come is if I was the one holding the rope." I stared at him, my soul ripping apart. "So now I'm supposed to believe you again? After everything?" His lips trembled. "I know I've lost you. I know I don't deserve forgiveness. But believe me when I say, they'll kill her if we don't play their game." My knees weakened. I wanted to hate him. I wanted to scream. But seeing my mother bound and helpless was enough to bury the anger under raw desperation. "Then what do we do?" I asked, my voice breaking. He stepped closer, lowering his voice. "They're listening. Always. But there's one way out. One chance. If you trust me, Just this once. Before I could answer, Elise walked into the room. Her sharp eyes scanned us like a hawk. Beautiful, she said softly. The family drama, the tears, it always makes the choices more interesting. Her gaze landed on me. Here's your new test, Maya. You've chosen the dog before. Now you must choose between your mother or your husband. One lives. One doesn't. Your decision will tell us everything we need to know about you. I staggered back. No, you can't ask me that. Her smile was cruel. But I already did. Daniel's eyes locked on mine. Choose, Mom. Don't even think twice. My life isn't worth hers. Mom shook her head violently, tears streaming. No, Maya. You save him. He's already broken. He needs someone to fight for him, even if he doesn't deserve it. My heart shattered. Both of them telling me to sacrifice themselves for the other. Both begging me not to choose them. Tears blurred everything. I screamed, my voice raw. Stop. You can't make me do this. Elise tilted her head. We can. And you will. Or they both die. The room spun. My chest tightened until I could barely breathe. I looked at Daniel, my betrayer, my love, my wound. I looked at Mom, the woman who raised me, who held me up when the world broke me. I closed my eyes, my tears falling freely. My hands shook. My voice trembled as I whispered, I choose. But before I could finish, Clover's bark exploded through the silence. She had slipped inside through the half-open door, her growl deep, her eyes locked on Elise. For the first time, I saw Elise step back, startled. The men behind her moved, but Clover's growl froze them in place. Something in me snapped. A surge of strength I didn't know I had rose inside me. No more, I said, my voice firm even through the tears. I won't play your games. Not with my family. Not anymore. I grabbed a broken piece of wood from the floor and stepped in front of my mother, Clover at my side. Daniel's eyes widened with something I hadn't seen in years. Pride. Elise studied me for a long moment, then smiled coldly. Interesting. Very interesting. She raised a hand, and just like that, the men lowered their weapons. This isn't over, Maya, she said softly. You've proven you're more than a victim. You've proven you're a fighter. And fighters are the ones we want most. Then she turned and walked out, leaving the room heavy with silence. I rushed to untie my mother, my hands shaking. She sobbed into my arms, Clover pressing against us both. When I turned to Daniel, he was staring at me with tear-filled eyes. You're stronger than I ever was, he whispered. Maybe stronger than them. I wanted to scream at him. I wanted to collapse into him. But all I did was whisper back, you made me this way. Welcome to the Haven, Maya. The message stared back at me like a brand burned into my skin. No threats this time. No demands. Just a quiet statement of ownership, as if they already had me. I sat in the dark with Clover curled against my legs, my mother asleep in the next room. But I couldn't close my eyes. The words echoed in my head over and over. Welcome to the Haven. What did it mean? That I had been accepted. That by refusing their cruel test, I had still proven myself worthy in their twisted eyes? I pressed the phone to my chest, my tears hot and silent. All I wanted was to be free. Yet every step I took to protect myself, my dog, and my mother only dragged me deeper. The next morning, my mother cooked breakfast, humming softly, pretending life was normal. She placed a plate in front of me. Eat. Maya. You need strength. I tried, but the food felt like ash in my mouth. My eyes wandered to the empty chair at the table. Daniel's chair. The silence stretched between us until Mom finally spoke. You still love him, don't you? I looked up sharply, pain in my chest. After everything, how can I? He lied, he broke me, he nearly killed Clover. Her gaze softened. Love isn't simple, Maya. You can hate what someone has done and still grieve who they once were. Her words unlocked something I'd been burying. Tears slipped down my cheeks. I don't know how to stop loving him. And I don't know how to forgive him either. She reached for my hand. Then don't force yourself. Just survive. One day at a time. Later that day, a package arrived at the door. No return address. Inside was a small box. I opened it with trembling hands. Inside was Daniel's wedding ring. And a note. Proof that he still belongs to us. My heart dropped. I clutched the ring to my chest, sobbing. Every time I thought I was free of him, they pulled me back in with another piece of my heart. That night, I dreamed of the past. The day Daniel slipped that very ring onto my finger, his hands shaking, his eyes wet with love. Forever, Maya, he had whispered then. No matter what. I woke with tears soaking my pillow. Forever had turned into ashes, but the echo of his promise still haunted me. Days passed. I tried to rebuild pieces of normal life. I took Clover for walks, cooked meals with Mom, even smiled faintly when neighbors dropped by to check on us. But the shadow of the haven never left. Every time my phone buzzed, my heart leapt. Every car that slowed near the house made me freeze. Then one evening, as the sun dipped low, my phone rang. A video call request from an unknown number. My hands shook as I answered. The screen lit up, and there he was. Daniel. His face was bruised, his eyes hollow, but alive. Maya, he whispered. Don't cry. Please don't cry. Tears streamed down my face anyway. Daniel, what are they doing to you? He shook his head. Doesn't matter. What matters is, you have to be careful. The Haven doesn't just use people. They change them. They break them until they become tools. Don't let them break you the way they broke me. I sobbed. Then fight with me. Come back. We can fix this, together. His eyes glistened. It's too late for me. But not for you. Promise me you won't give in, Maya. Promise me you'll protect Clover. Protect your mother. Promise me you'll live even if I don't. My chest tore apart. Don't talk like that. I can't lose you, Daniel. Not like this. He smiled faintly, broken but real. You already lost me, love. The only thing left is whether you lose yourself too. The screen went black. I collapsed onto the floor, Clover pressing against me, whining softly. My sobs shook the whole room. He was alive. But he was slipping further and further away. And I couldn't reach him. That night, another message came. You've proven loyalty to your dog and your mother. Now prove loyalty to him. Tomorrow at dawn, bring Clover to the warehouse. Only then will you see Daniel again. I stared at the words in horror. They wanted her. My innocent Clover, who had never hurt anyone, who had stood by me through everything. I wrapped my arms around her, crying into her fur. No. Not you. Never you. But the words on the screen glared back at me, impossible to ignore. If I refused, Daniel would be gone forever. If I obeyed, I'd lose the only creature who had never betrayed me. I was caught again. Between the man I couldn't stop loving and the dog who had been my only true constant. I stayed up all night, staring at the ring, the phone, and Clover curled at my feet. My soul screamed for answers, for a way out that didn't cost me everything. As dawn crept closer, I knew one thing for certain. Whatever choice I made next would break me. The note in Daniel's handwriting trembled in my hands. Don't bring her. They want to use her against you. Trust me this once. Come alone. I sank to the floor, Clover pressing against me, her warmth for soaking up my tears. For so long, Daniel's words had been poison. Lies that cut me. Promises that shattered. But this felt different. A plea not for himself, but for me. I kissed Clover's head. I won't let them take you, I whispered. Not you, my girl. Never you. When dawn broke, I left the house alone. My mother begged me not to, tears in her eyes, but I hugged her tight and whispered, "It ends today, Mom. I promise." The warehouse loomed cold and empty as I walked in. Elise stood waiting, her arms folded, her smile sharp. "Where's the dog?" I raised my chin, fear hammering in my chest but my voice steady. "Safe. Where you'll never touch her. If you want someone, take me." Her smile faltered for the first time. "Brave," she said softly. "Stupid but brave." Behind her, Daniel was dragged forward. His face was battered, but his eyes, those stormy eyes I once knew so well, lit up when he saw me. "Maya," he whispered. My chest broke all over again. Elise stepped closer. "This is your final choice, Maya. Join us, and you both walk out alive. Refuse, and you lose him forever." I looked at Daniel. My tears blurred everything, but I saw the truth in his eyes. He shook his head slowly. "Don't do it. Don't let them have you." The silence stretched, heavy and cruel. Then something inside me shifted. I had been afraid for too long. I had let them take my home, my peace, my joy. No more. I took a deep breath, wiped my tears and said, "I won't join you. I won't be your victim. I choose my freedom, with or without him." The men raised their weapons. My heart stopped. But Elise lifted a hand. "Enough." To my shock, she smiled. A real smile. "You passed, Maya." I blinked in confusion. "What?" "You were never meant to join us," she said. "You were meant to prove whether you could break free from him, from us, from fear. Most don't. But you did." The men stepped back. The ropes on Daniel were cut loose. I ran forward before my mind could catch up, throwing myself into his arms. For a long moment, we just held each other, sobbing, broken pieces pressed together like they could somehow become whole again. When I pulled back, I searched his face. "Why? Why put me through this?" He cupped my face gently, his voice raw. "Because love made me weak, Maya. But love made you strong. And now maybe I can be strong too." They let us go. Just like that. No more threats. No more games. The haven disappeared from our lives as suddenly as they had entered. In the weeks that followed, Daniel and I rebuilt. Not the house, not yet, but ourselves. It wasn't easy. Trust didn't return overnight. There were nights I cried in silence. Mornings he woke up shaking from nightmares. But slowly, through honesty, through time, through Clover's quiet loyalty, we found pieces of the love we had lost. One evening, sitting on the porch of my mother's home, Daniel slipped his wedding ring back onto my finger. Not with grand promises. Not with tears. Just with simple words. "Let's start again." Slowly. Honestly. This time, no secrets. And for the first time in forever, I smiled without pain. Months later, I walked Clover in the park, the sun warm on my face, Daniel's hand laced with mine. We weren't perfect, but we were together. And together we were free. I knelt beside Clover, stroking her fur. "We made it, girl," I whispered. "We survived." Her tail wagged, her eyes bright. Daniel crouched beside us, wrapping his arm around me. "We survived because of you, Maya. You're the strongest person I know." I leaned into him, my heart soft. For so long, My story had been about betrayal, fear, and pain. But now it was about healing. About love that fought its way back from the ashes. That night, as I lay in bed with Clover at my feet and Daniel's steady breathing beside me, I finally closed my eyes without fear. For the first time in a long time, I felt safe. For the first time in a long time, I felt whole. And I knew, with tears of gratitude filling my eyes, that no matter what tomorrow brought, we had found our way back to love, to family, to peace.